Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the sit-start predictions and also touchdown projections. This episode, I'm breaking these out by position this week. This episode is all about the running backs. I'm going to go game by game. I'm going to give you definite starts and fringe starts at the running back position. So basically what I'm thinking about is if you're in a league, a 10 to 12 person league, you're looking at probably 24 really good starts for running back and then some fringe guys below that. I like wide receivers more than I like running backs this week, so that goes into some of these decisions as well. Let's just go. Oh, before we get moving, please remember to subscribe to this channel, like the video. The more subscribers, the more likes, the more interaction we get closer to becoming a YouTube partner, which means we can be more interactive and put more features inside these videos, which I'm really looking to do. But let's get rolling here. We have Washington versus Minnesota on Thursday Night Football. I do not have Adrian Peterson as a start. Chris Thompson's out. I have Rendell Smallwood as maybe a daily fantasy guy. If you're really desperate, you can get him, but basically the idea is that Washington will be behind and they'll have to neutralize this Minnesota defense with the screen game. Now for Minnesota, Dalvin Cook's a definite start. Wendell Smallwood is a touchdown candidate, but I really think his value comes in the PPR league where he'll get some receptions and yards. Dalvin Cook, I think, goes for 2 touchdowns this week. Arizona versus New Orleans. Okay, Kamara's questionable. David Johnson, he played 1 snap, and then Chase Edmonds went off last week, which really pissed a lot of people off, myself included. If David Johnson plays, he's a start. If he doesn't play, Chase Edmonds is a start. Look at NFL.com/inactives. I think both of these guys are 1 to 2 touchdowns, so I'm going to say 1.5 touchdowns for both of those guys. As for Kamara, if he plays, I think he's a really, really great target. 2 to 3 touchdowns for him. I think Latavius Murray filling in gets 2 touchdowns either way. So again, once again, check the inactives report. Both of those guys are starts. But Kamara would be one of my favorite running back starts this week. Maybe my favorite running back start this week, along with Dalvin Cook. If he plays and if he's healthy enough to go. Cincinnati versus the LA Rams in London. You know what? The Cincinnati running game has never gotten off the field. Zach Taylor, I'm selling on him because he can't get the running game going. Joe Mixon, Gio Bernard, both sits. For the Rams, I think Gurley will play. I think he's a start, gets you 1 touchdown and some decent yardage this week. So there you go. The Chargers versus the Bears. I know it's a tough defense, but you know what? Chicago has had issues stopping the run game in 2 consecutive weeks. The Raiders and the Saints ran right into the mouth of the Chicago defense. It's a concern for Chicago because they need their defense to win games. I think the Chargers have the personnel to exploit that matchup. Melvin Gordon, after a ridiculous end of the game performance against the Titans last week, I think he rebounds. I think he's a definite start, probably gets 1 to 2 touchdowns. I think Austin Eckler, remember, he's not just a runner. The Chargers are using him more even as like a receiver, like a slasher. I think he's a start as well. I think he'll get you receptions. I think he'll get you possibly a touchdown as well. Actually, I do think Austin Eckler gets in the end zone this week. And I have, if I didn't say Melvin Gordon, I think he definitely gets in the end zone. I'm going to say 1.25 touchdowns. So 1 to 2, more likely 1 than 2. Eckler gets in the touchdown, gets in the end zone as well. For Chicago, I don't like Tarek Cohen this week. I think this is a touchdown week for David Montgomery. I have him as a fringe start. There are better options, especially at wide receiver out there if you're looking to flex out. But if you need to start a running back and you have David Montgomery, I do think he gets in the end zone this week. Giants versus Detroit. Saquon Barkley is a start every week. I think he's going to get in the end zone once, but I think he'll give you really nice receptions and yardage this week. For Detroit, it's not Kerryon Johnson anymore. He's on the injured reserve. It's going to be Ty Johnson. I do have him as a start, but I don't think he gets in the end zone. I think he'll just get you nice yardage. Oakland versus Houston. Josh Jacobs is a start. He's getting better and better and better. I have him getting in the end zone once with really nice yardage. For Houston, I do not like Carlos Hyde. Duke Johnson could get in the end zone. I have him as a start, but maybe not a touchdown candidate. I think he'll just get you receptions and yardage. For Philadelphia versus Buffalo, I don't like either Jordan Howard or Miles Sanders this week. I don't have either getting in the end zone. For Buffalo, I like Frank Gore as a fringe start. I don't think he gets in the end zone, but he gets you enough yardage to make do, especially in a flex spot. And I don't have Devin Singletary getting in the end zone. Seattle versus Atlanta. I have Chris Carson as a definite start and getting 1 to 2 touchdowns, more likely 1 than 2. For Atlanta, Devonta Freeman I have as a start, and I also think he'll get in the end zone this week. Remember, he got ejected in the, I think in the first half last week. This matchup, assuming he plays and he's not, getting punished by the Atlanta Falcons in any way for being ejected, I think he'll have a nice game there. Tampa Bay versus Tennessee. I do not like Peyton Barber this week. I do think Ronald Jones is a start. I don't think he'll get in the end zone, but he'll get you nice yardage. For Tennessee, I have Derrick Henry as a start. I don't think he'll get in the end zone. This Todd Bowles defense does pretty well on the goal line against running backs, in my opinion. I think Derrick Henry gets you more than enough in the running game, but I actually think Tannehill will pass a little bit more against this defense. Again, Derrick Henry, a definite start. I don't think he gets in the end zone, so he's not my favorite daily fantasy buy this week, but there you go. Carolina versus San Francisco. Christian McCaffrey's a start every week. I think he gets 1 touchdown. This is a tough San Francisco team, but he'll get you really nice yardage, as he always does. San Francisco, I have Tevin Coleman as a start, but not a touchdown candidate for me this week. I have a Matt Breida as a start and possibly a touchdown candidate. So I think 1 rushing touchdown will come to one of these running backs. If I had to guess, I would say Tevin Coleman. I'm talking I'm projecting him at 0.6 touchdowns this week, and I have Breida projected at 0.4. So I think one's going to go to one of these running backs. More likely Coleman than not, but analytically speaking, Coleman's the start. Breida is the fringe start. Cleveland, I think you have to start Nick Chubb. I do not think he gets in the end zone this week, but he'll get you nice yardage. I think that's the only way you can attack this New England defense is running the ball. Buffalo had some success with that. Cleveland needs to be patient, stick with the run. We'll see what happens. That's not been Freddie Kitchens' strong suit. For New England, I actually like both running backs, Sony Michel and James White. I think James White is the more likely to get in the end zone this week, but I do have both getting enough yardage to be a start. Denver versus Indianapolis. Phillip Lindsay's a start. Touchdown candidate. I think it's more likely. Actually, now that Denver traded away Emmanuel Sanders, I think it's much more likely that Emmanuel Sanders gets in. I have him projected at 0.8, so there's an 80% chance that he gets in the end zone. You can think of it that way. For Indianapolis, I think you have to start Marlon Mack, but I actually think Nyheim Hines outscores Mack this week. I think Hines could get in the end zone. I think he'll get. I think this Colts team is going to utilize a screen game to attack the Denver defense, and I think Hines is the guy to exploit that matchup. I think he'll get catches. I think he'll get yards. I don't think Mack gets a touchdown on the ground. I do think Hines is a touchdown candidate, but not super likely. But like I said, I like Hines more than Mack this week, but both are starts, I think. Green Bay versus Kansas City. Green Bay, I think Aaron Jones is a definite start. 1 to 2 touchdowns for him. Jamal Williams I have as a fringe start, also possibly a touchdown, less yardage, but goal line touchdown type of deal for him. For the Kansas City Chiefs, I do have Damian Williams as a start and LaShawn McCoy as a start. More likely that LaShawn McCoy gets the touchdowns this week. I think Kansas City, especially with Mahomes out, they're going to take their chances deep like they do, but they're going to want to put Matt Moore into nice situations. That means more Kelsey, and more importantly for this running back segment here, that means more screen game. Damian Williams and LaShawn McCoy will be used early and often, in my opinion, this week. Last game of the week, Miami versus Pittsburgh, Monday Night Football. I like, I don't like anything from Miami. Even Mark Walton, I think he's a fringe start, Mark Walton. I don't think he gets in the end zone. Drake and Ballage, I'm not loving from Miami. For Pittsburgh, I'm assuming James Conner, who is questionable, I'm assuming he will play. I'm assuming he will start. I will say he will get in the end zone, I think, one time this week through either the receiving game or the passing game. For, Pittsburgh, I like Benny Snell as well. Jalen Samuels is going to be out again. Snell is a fringe start for me. I don't think he'll get in the end zone, but he'll get you some nice yardage. So there you go. That brings me through the running backs. Please remember to subscribe to this channel and like this video. Help us grow, and check us out on another episode. Thanks.